Welcome to the Histories of Northamptonshire podcast series, and this episode number 80. Recorded on location, each episode tells the story of one of the many and varied objects which are the focus of the exhibition A History of Northamptonshire in 100 Objects. The exhibition runs at the Northampton Museum and Art Gallery between the 20th of September 2025 and February 2026. Selected by local individuals, heritage groups and the museum's own curators, each object tells a different story from the county's past. And so, to our guest for this episode.
My name is Beverly Richards. I'm a volunteer in the town museum in Northampton.
Beverly, tell me about the object, because you discovered this and it was already here at the museum.
Yes, it's a World War I bomb. It is safe, and when you see the bomb, you will see that there are bits missing.
Now, we'll find out what the significance to Northamptonshire about the bomb is in a few minutes' time. Sure. This is a bomb that fell from the skies.
From a Zeppelin in World War I, a German airship that was lost.
This Zeppelin, why was it over Northampton?
Well, it shouldn't have been over Northampton. It should have been in Sheffield. The steelworks during World War I were fair game. Zeppelins, the original airships, they tend to get caught in the wind, and they often have to fly higher than they actually should, because bullets were able to pierce the skins, and of course, with the gases that were in there, it would have blown sky high. Instead, it came over Northampton.
The crew, therefore, were over the wrong target.
Yes. They knew they'd been blown off course. The only thing they got to really was a map and a compass. It was the first ever type of bombing raid that British citizens would have experienced.
And it had the desired effect of being, presumably, terrifying for people on the ground, having bombs dropped on them.
I don't know if they expect it. I mean, obviously, the war factories would expect it, but not Northampton, for wasting bombs on. The crew on LA-45, is what the Zeppelin, thought it was Oxford. Oxford technically is fair game because bombing a very famous colleges and universities, it would probably demoralise.
So the crew of the Zeppelin were aiming for Sheffield, didn't manage to get to Sheffield, thought they were over Oxford, and actually ended up bombing Northampton.
Yeah.
That's a bonfire of the calamities, isn't it?
It is. It's just one mistake. I mean, because they're so light, the wind is just blew them away.
This is the remnant of the bomb, although most of the bomb, except the explosive ordnance, is still with us.
Correct.
Tell me about what happened on the bombing raid.
Well, there were 22 bombs that were dropped, 9 of which were incendiary bombs, and the bomb that is in the museum is one of them. But another one landed on the roof of number 46 Parkwood Street, St James. Upstairs, Eliza Gammon, age 51, was sleeping in the back room. She died instantly. In the middle room, her 13-year-old twin daughters, Gladys and Elwood, were sleeping there. Private Albert Baisley, the brother-in-law, who was on leave, and who was in the front room with his wife and children, rescued the twin girls and got them out. They were wrapped in blankets and carried out. Gladys died the next day, and Lily the day after that, due to shock from the burns. Henry Gammon, the husband and father, was a railway bricklayer who was away at the time. Had he been there, he would also have been dead, because he would have been sleeping with his wife.
In which case an entire family would have been lost.
Yeah.
And was this one of the incendiary bombs?
Yes.
So the idea was that the bomb would go off and cause fire.
Yep.
Which it did. So the remnant that is left over, that is in the exhibition, is it from that bomb or is it from a different bomb?
It's from a different bomb. This particular bomb, it's the same raid, but it fell in Sywell Airport and has been in their museum for some time, and then it was transferred over to the town museum here in Northampton.
Now that's quite fascinating, because just to picture the night when the wind would have been blowing, we know that because the Zeppelin was off course, it dropped 22 bombs. The fall of the bombs from St James to Sywell, that's quite some distance, which indicates that the Zeppelin wasn't travelling very fast. And yet the bombs were potent and the bombs were effective.
What we're dealing with is a moment in time. There were actually 5 raids on Northampton, but this is the only one where 3 people were killed. And that's what makes it significant. Of course, you've got to remember, this is not World War II when everybody else, everybody was being bombed. This was a rare occurrence. This is why it's so important. I mean, these 2 girls, they had no life. They were 13. And that's it.
Beverly, we know what happened when the Zeppelin crew dropped their 22 bombs. Do we know what happened to the Zeppelin?
Yes, we do. It had to drop all its bombs before it could land, because, obviously, if they landed with bombs, then it would just blow up. So they dropped all their bombs in London and over the south coast, across the Channel, and landed in France behind enemy lines. They ran out of gas, basically. They destroyed the Zeppelin, but spent the rest of the war as prisoners of war.
So it was effectively a crash landing?
It was a crash landing, but yeah.
They destroyed their own Zeppelin and then became prisoners of war.
Yeah.
You discovered this particular bomb, which is in the exhibition. With it, you discovered the story of a different bomb from the same raid. Which took lives. As a historian, as a volunteer historian here at the Northampton Museum and Art Gallery, what is your reaction to that exhibit and the story that it is able to tell?
When the museum was being refurbished, all the artefacts, all the objects had to be removed and placed somewhere else. And this is going to sound really silly, but it's absolutely true. The moment you say that is a bomb from World War I that killed people, it becomes dangerous. And then you do what you need to do, and then you put it back on the shelf and it's safe again. I know that sounds crazy, but it's what happened. Because all of a sudden you're opening this aura of destruction. But that's the reason that it happened.
Why then, from your point of view, should this item be part of the exhibition, telling the histories of Northamptonshire?
Because these 3 people died. They're not mentioned anywhere. Not these 3 civilians. So in 2017, there was a gap between 2 shops in St James, nearby where they lived. And it was decided that they were going to name that place Gammon Place. They plant a tree, and then they tell the story on the pavement. It's literally written in stone. This is the Gammons Memorial. And it's right and proper that they should be recognised. Because, all right, so it's only 3 people, but it's still 3 people. And so that's why, that's how I became involved, because I'd done the research, or some of the research.
In which case, the naming of Gammon Way as a memorial to those members of that lost family, it remains, but perhaps through the exhibition and bringing those names back to life and the consciousness of people, maybe that will get people to go and find the space at which the bomb dropped on that fateful night, and the story can be told again. Beverly, it's a macabre object in its own right. It is created to cause death, and on this particular bombing run, one of its sibling bombs did exactly that. But it's a fascinating story and a relic of the past with which we can look back. Thank you for telling me about this particular object today.
It's a story that needs to be told.
Thank you for listening to this Histories of Northamptonshire podcast. If you would like to find out more about the objects or listen to other episodes in the series, go to www.northamptonmuseums.com. Alternatively, you can visit the Northampton Museum and Art Gallery, where you can see the A History of Northamptonshire in 100 Objects exhibition for yourself. The Histories of Northamptonshire project is funded by Arts Council England as part of the National Portfolio Programme.